Do, 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 do. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Wednesday happy. I'm assuming we're live, just double checking because that's what everyone has to do at the beginning of their lives. Yay, I'm live. Okay, good morning. Happy Wednesday. So I'm just sort of coming down from this weekend and the Valentine's challenge. That was so enjoyable for me. Monday I had a bit of a crash. I was like, oh, I'm a bit tired from all that self-loving over the weekend. So I did more self-love by having a rest, and I even had a lie-in on Tuesday. Shh, I never let myself have a lie-in on the weekday anyway, so that was a real gift to myself. So thank you for joining me in this video, whether it's now or later on the replay, and thanks for those that joined in at the weekend live and for those that took the time out to watch things later on. I know how difficult it can be to find the time to watch replays. It's almost like if you're not there live, it's a real resistance to turn up. So for those that watch the replay, like, massive congratulations to you. You should definitely celebrate that, because I know how difficult it can be when you're not at the live. So thank you for everyone who participated. It was really nice to receive all the feedback I did and all the engagement from you guys that really helped lift the energy of the challenge. So I hope that you've got a lot out of it, and I'll be posting more things in the week about tips and tricks to help with it, to make it more manageable, and I will be talking more on my radical self-love program later in the week as well. So one of the things that, one of the main themes that cropped up during the weekend challenge was this theme of comparison. And I see it everywhere, and I see it in myself. I've been guilty of it so much more in my life than I would like to be, and even now I've done a lot of work on it, but even now, you know, I still feel guilty of it, and I catch myself in comparison, and my human's comparing, and then my soul is going, oh hey, we're comparing, and then my soul finds it funny, but my human's still caught in the comparison, and then there's this little like funny skit going on between the human and the soul, and it really amuses me. But during my journey with this comparison theme and thinking about it more deeply this week, since it cropped up a few times, I've just gone a little bit deeper into it, and I just wanted to come here and shed some light on this comparison thing, because I think it's quite important for us to think about it. One of the things that comparison leads to is feelings of unworthiness and shame. And shame is one of those things that only survives when it's kept in the silence and the dark. So if you take shame and you keep it in the darkness, oh, good morning, Karen. I'm so glad that you could make it. So if you take shame and you keep it in the dark and you keep it in the silence, it will grow and it will thrive and it will live a very happy life. If you take the shame and you shine a light on it and you verbalize it and speak it out loud, then it goes away, it diminishes, it lessens, it decreases significantly. So comparison leads to shame, and if we shine a light on it and verbalize it, then it has no more power over us. So the first thing I wanted to address when thinking about comparison is this thing called remembrance. So it's a very self-explanatory word, but for those of you that aren't necessarily as familiar with the term remembrance, it's about remembering who you really are. And I don't mean remembering who you really are in terms of your likes and your dislikes and you know, your hobbies and interests. I mean who you are on a foundational soul level. So you are a pure and powerful, unique soul being. living a human existence. And that is what I mean by remembrance, right? So this can be easier to remember when we view it through the eyes of our soul than through the eyes of our human. Because obviously our soul came down here because it wanted to live a human life. So that's why we're very focused through the human eyes. But sometimes in order to have a deeper human experience, we need to just pop out every now and then and take a look through the soul eyes to get that perspective and to have that remembrance in order to help us overcome some of these challenging beliefs and negative thoughts. So remembering that you are a pure, powerful, unique individual is the first step to helping overcome comparison. So we are all humans, just like apples and oranges and bananas are all fruits. But we are all different humans, just like apples, oranges, and bananas are all different types of fruits. And you don't always necessarily feel like a banana. Sometimes you feel like an orange, and sometimes you feel like you want an apple. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the apple just because you wanted the orange, right? There's nothing wrong with the banana just because you felt like having an apple that day. It just, that's what took your fancy. And you don't sit there comparing them. You don't sit there going, oh, I want the banana today, therefore the banana is like so much better than the apple. It's so much more successful and beautiful and lovable because I want it more than the apple in that moment. We don't think like that. So let's try not to think about ourselves like that. We are all unique, therefore we cannot really be compared when you think about it in a logical way, which we don't always do. So that's fair enough. The second thing that helps with this comparison is focusing inwards on yourself and your positives instead of focusing outwards and the positives on what everyone else has and therefore the things that you might not have, because again, you're unique beings. So what, Sarah has over there, you won't have over here, and what Mary has over there, you won't have, because you're all unique. So focusing inwards on what you do have, this is kind of a glass half full, glass half empty type of approach, looking at your positives, your talents, your gifts, your achievements, your successes. And also what success uniquely means to you as well, because what success means to Sarah and Mary isn't necessarily what success means to you, and vice versa. So focusing inwards on your positives, and if it helps to write lists or to verbalize out loud these positives to make it a more powerful, deeper, integrated lesson for you, then by all means do that as well. If it's a daily list, a weekly list, a monthly list, or even a yearly list, I celebrate the Sabbats from the Celtic Wheel of the Year. So pretty much every 6 weeks, I take an opportunity to create a new altar and reflect on the last year since that last Sabbath was. So by the Sabbaths, I mean the equinoxes, the solstices, Imbolc, Beltane, Halloween, also known as Samhain, and all of those ones. So the Celtic fire festivals. So I take those opportunities to reflect, much like you do on your birthdays, much like you do on New Year's Eve, reflecting on how far you've come and where you are since the last year. So writing them down or verbalizing those things can be really powerful. And then celebrating them. So once we've written them down and identified them, celebrating them and celebrating what it means to be uniquely us and the successes in our own lives. So focusing inwards on yourselves takes away the comparison, because you're not focusing outwards on the other people and the things that they have and the things that they've achieved, because you will never have achieved the same things as other people, because you are a unique being living a unique life with unique goals, with unique talents, with unique everything. So inwards, not outwards. The third point I wanted to highlight is that of assumptions. So when we are focused outwards instead of inwards, we are making assumptions on people's lives from a snapshot, from a tiny snapshot of what we can see of their life. So if I go back to my fruit examples, if you are the apple, you are judging the health of an orange based on the one seed that you can see. you're looking at that orange seed and you're going, oh my God, that orange seed is so much better than my apple seed. That orange seed looks healthier than my apple seed. It looks juicier than my apple seed. It looks happier than my apple seed. But you can't see the rest of the orange. So you don't know if the orange is actually, does the orange exist? Is the orange moldy? You can't see the rest of the orange. You can see one seed. Therefore, how can you compare your entire apple to one seed of an orange? How can you compare your entire world, that you know everything about you and your world, and how can you compare that to the few social media posts that you see of this person on the internet, or to the life that you see of the mum doing the school drop off? You see her once every morning. You see her dressed in her immaculate clothes, in her expensive car. You see her big smile and her lovely white teeth, and you see how friendly she is with all the other mums, and you see the beautiful packed lunch she's made for her kids. What you don't see is her going home and pouring herself a glass of wine and crying because her husband's cheating on her. What you don't see is her standing on the scales every morning because she's like terrified of like how like much weight she's put on. Like, you don't see the things outside of that snapshot that you see. So you're comparing based on what that person wants you to see in their world, what they're putting on social media, how they're presenting themselves out in the world in front of you. And Karen saying, having regular reflection and celebration sounds very good. Yes, regular reflection. That's one of the reasons I work with the moon so closely, is because the moon is all about reflection. Because after all, the moon is only visible because it's reflecting the light from the sun. So whenever I'm thinking about the moon, I'm always thinking some kind of reflection, whether I'm reflecting on anything since the last moon phase, or since the last phase of that moon in the last cycle, or the last year, whatever it is. Regular reflection is true. So Karen's saying, OMG, it is so true that judgments based on assumptions are so pervasive and so damaging. Yes, they are, because you're comparing your entire life to a snapshot of theirs. And an entire life is never going to live up to a snapshot of someone else's, because of the nature of them presenting their little perfect snapshot that they want you to see. So don't think that you know what other people are going through. They may look happy, but you have no idea if they're really happy or not. And also, how does it serve you whether or not they are happy? So if they are happy, it doesn't make you less happy. And if they aren't happy, if you find out that, okay, yes, their husband is cheating them and they do actually have weight issues and they have body dysmorphia and they have depression and they're drinking wine for breakfast, how does their life being worse serve your life? It doesn't make your life any better. It just shifts your perspective of your own life. It hasn't changed anything in your own life. It's only changed your perspective. And someone else being worse off doesn't make you better off. Likewise, someone being better off doesn't make you worse off. So you can't compare apples and oranges. Just like you can't compare the woman who left her career to raise her babies and now can't get back into her field. You can't compare her with the woman who focused on her career and has now missed the opportunity to have a family. They will both be looking at each other. The career woman will be looking at the mum thinking, God, I wish I had babies. Like, why don't I have any babies? There's no one to nurture. There's no one to look after. There's no one to pass my wisdom on to. There's no one to look after me in old age. She's going to be stuck in that comparison. Whereas the mum's going to be looking at her screaming child and being like, oh my God. And then looking at the career woman thinking like, I wish I could use those skills that I haven't used in so many years. I wish I was earning my own money. I wish people took me seriously. I wish I could dress up in fancy clothes instead of like puke stained clothes all day long, But you can't compare the woman who decided to focus on her career and the woman who decided to focus on her family. There is no comparison, and they will only be missing out on enjoying what they did choose to focus on by focusing on what the other person has. So I hope this is making sense. If you're watching the replay or anything and you have any questions about this, just pop it in the comments and I'll see it and address it later if you have a specific example that you want to sort of change your perspective on. So one of the themes that has run through everything that I've spoken about this morning is the theme of perspective. Perspective is quite literally everything. Whenever you are in a lower vibration and feeling negative, comparing yourself, and all of those things, changing your perspective can be the difference between viewing yourself as unemployed and viewing yourself as being rich enough to take some time out to find yourself again, right? The former, i.e. being unemployed, might make me look at you and go, thank God I'm employed. Like I'm doing better than this person. They're unemployed. Like, thank God I've got a job. Makes me really grateful that I've got a job, that I'm employed, that I have purpose and income coming in. The latter perspective, that they are financially comfortable enough to be able to take that time out to do whatever it is they're doing, whether they're healing, whether they're soul searching, whether they're starting a business, whatever it is they're doing with that time off. I might look at them and go, I could never afford to quit my job and just have time out to find myself or go traveling or explore entrepreneurship. And then I would get stuck in comparison and my vibrations would begin to lower and I'd go, maybe I'd start even feeling trapped in my career and going, oh my God, I'm stuck in this job. I'm stuck in this career. I don't have a choice about being in it because I can't afford to be unemployed and to find myself. So both perceptions are technically true, but it's up to you how you choose to perceive these things, right? And how you perceive it will be down to your inner feelings of worthiness. So gaining perspective and doing deep inner work to deal with your own personal worthiness is key to overcoming comparison. So perspective and deep inner work on worthiness is the conclusion I've come to from all of this, reflection and deep inner work. So I just want to take us on a little guided visualization now, to help us gain this perspective. And so Karen's saying employment versus time out sounds familiar. Love that insight. I'm glad, because it's a really important one, for me personally, running my business, particularly in the early days. I was viewed as unemployed because I didn't have a job, but I was working more hours than there was in life to start this business, right? And people could have either viewed me as unemployed chasing a pipe dream, or they could have viewed me as living my best life and being super brave and working really hard. So if I think my gran thought I was just bumming around and just like flitting around doing a few things here and there but not really paying much attention to it, and eventually I'd get a job. Every time I saw her she was like, have you thought about getting a job? Have you had any interviews? Are you looking into anything? And I'd be like, no gran, I have a job. I run a business. Like I work like 7 days a week, gran. And she's like, oh, okay. Like she never believed me. She never believed that I was working 7 days a week and, sometimes into the evenings. And then it took a lot for me to even like eat because I was like busy, squirreling away. So that was perspective. And it was really hard for me knowing that so many people had this perspective of me, that I was either unemployed or bumming around or just like flitting around like, oh, it's just Bella, don't take any notice of her. Like she'll be back to having a job sooner or later. And that was really hard. So I don't think it's really been until like super recently, if even at all, that my friends and family actually take me seriously and what I'm doing with my business. But I take it seriously, and I know that I'm running a business and it's real and it's proper, and I put loads of time and energy and effort into it. So let's get back to our visualization. So I invite you to just get comfy, wiggle around in your seat, in your chair. Sit down for this one or lie down, whichever's most comfortable for you. Just getting comfortable, get a blanket if you're chilly, get a drink to make sure that you have something to bring yourself back with. And then when you're ready, I just invite you to close your eyes and bring your attention to the breath. Breathing in through the nose, holding it for a moment, and then breathing out fully and completely through the mouth. Feeling as the oxygen and the air flows in through your nostrils. And then feeling as it flows back out through your mouth. Sending any healing and blessings and relaxation to any parts of our body that are uncomfortable or painful. Breathing in through the nose, holding for a moment, and then breathing out fully and completely through the mouth. Breathing into any areas of tension, of discomfort, of pain. Just telling them it's okay to relax. And now I want you to imagine your consciousness, your higher self, your soul, separating out from your physical body and drifting upwards outside of your own self. Hovering slightly above your body, looking down, seeing yourself where you are sat, peering down at the crown of your own head. Now I want you to allow this consciousness to drift slightly higher, traveling through any ceilings of any buildings you might be in, traveling several stories off the ground, taking a moment to gaze down and see yourself becoming smaller, details disappearing, and a wider view of the ground and surrounding area of your street or whatever it might be. Zooming out further still, allowing the entire town, village or city to ease into sight. Your physical body now a small speck in the distance, floating up even further still, inviting the entire country to drift into view. You can now see the country's border, the surrounding land or water, your physical body merging into the landscape beneath you. Drifting higher and higher to reveal the entire continent. And soon you are navigating your way through the atmosphere, illuminating beneath you a vision of the entire world. You are now detached from the earth below, yet still connected to it by the physical body you are tied with. You have become the witness to something you are still a part of. Breathe deeply into this new state, breathing in and out, expanding your awareness and relaxing into this liberation. Breathing in and out, separate yet one. attached yet detached. Breathing in and out. You are traversing the earthly and heavenly realms. It is time to surrender to the highest good for all. Detach yourself from outcome, from a particular way of living, of thinking, of feeling, of behaving. Liberate yourself from expectation and comparison. Release that which no longer serves you, releasing your feelings of unworthiness, surrendering them to the divine. Release your negative self-talk, surrender them to the gods. Release your body shaming, surrender them to Source. Release your expectations, the enormously high expectations you hold for yourself. Release your comparisons, your attachments, and offer them up to the highest good for all, to be transmuted and transformed into peace, vision, inspiration, allowing yourself to be devoured by passion, by pleasure and creativity. Concede to laughter, wisdom and intuition, and project compassion, forgiveness, truth and joy. Breathe in and surrender. Breathe out and release. Breathe in and surrender. Breathe out and release. Breathe in and surrender. Breathe out and release. These are the feelings, the emotions, the states of a pure and eternal soul. Remember and return to this state often. Remember who you are underneath it all. Underneath the layers of humanity, the layers of ego. Remember the essence of the divine, of the one, the almighty, the source, pure and unconditional love. Remember you are a powerful and eternal being, with no end and no beginning. You are created in love and therefore can never be destroyed, only transformed, transmuted. Reclaim this state. Reclaim who you truly are, who you know you can be. Retrieve this essence from within. It has been there all along. Regain this knowing, this understanding, this embodiment of pure love and divine essence. Now invite this state of being, this loving and detached perspective, this divine presence, to return with you back to the earthly plane, back to your physical body, and begin the descent. Descend through the atmosphere, float through the layers of cloud, gaze down to see the continents forming below. Your focus turns to the country that your physical body is in, and you glide gently closer. Gradually more detail comes into view. The outline of your country, the haze of your village, town or city. Smaller features becoming visible. Now you can see the particular building or space that you are heading towards, passing through any ceilings. You can now see your physical self. You pause for a moment just above this body, and you take a moment to center yourself, to ensure you still have hold of your divine essence, your original and pure form, your sacred self. As you focus on this part of you, you drift gently down, settling back into this familiar body. Allow yourself to fill up this body, bringing yourself slowly back into physical form. And when you are ready, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, weaving your pure essence into every corner, filling your physical self with every ounce of your sacred self. Reclaiming this body as a divine tool in service and love. Rubbing the palms of your hands together, stamping your feet lightly on the ground. And when you're ready, just bringing your attention back into the room and slowly open your eyes, taking a sip of water or other liquid. Breathing deeply to center and ground yourself. Moving your body if you're finding it hard to come back. We did go quite far away, so you might be feeling a little spacey. So just like have a wiggle, touch your body, pat yourself down, bring yourself back. So this is a practice you can return to if you find yourself in need or getting stuck in comparison or needing perspective. So there's really 6 parts to it. It's zooming out, detaching from outcome, surrendering to the highest good for all, releasing that which no longer serves you, remembering who you really are, and then embodying that and bringing that back with you, bringing that divine essence back with you. So if you have any questions about comparison or about the self-love challenge, please just comment under this post or post it in the group or send me a DM. I will be going live on Saturday, this Saturday, the 20th of February at midday GMT time, to give some more information on my Radical Self-Love program and to answer any questions you have around the program, see if it's suitable for you. If you don't want to wait that long, then you can book a free discovery session with me. You can find it like pretty much everywhere on my website. And we can just have a chat about the program, about you, your life, your self-love journey, see if it's appropriate for you at this time. So, but if you're stuck in comparison and want any support with that, then just message under this thread or send me a private message, and I can help you, sort of gain some perspective or give you some journaling prompts for your specific situation and example. So thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you all have a magical and lovely Wednesday, and I'll see you around the group, but I'll see you on Saturday for my live Q&A. So much love and infinite blessings from me.